good.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't.
Okay.
Those are on the card.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
like I said, so many people buy stuff, and I don't know if they turn it in his kitchen or what. 'Cause I know it's been there.
Um, yeah, I've got quite a few for Jan. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. I've asked Larry to open us with prayer, brother.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we pause at this time of the day to give Thee thanks for all the many blessings of life in this church family and what that brings to everybody that attends here is the warmth and love that you have for us. And I would ask that Your Spirit would be with us as we conduct business of the branch, that we would do so in a way that would glorify You in anything and everything that we do. Be with us, I pray, and these things I ask in Your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, brother. This is an important meeting for it's a members meeting, and we'll have, I'm sure we've got mics, look like Alan's got one. So it's intended to be interactive. If you have issues with any budget item, plus or minus, now's the time to do it. This is because where we put our money is what we're going to do this year. So we need to be thoughtful about that, and you're invited to share your opinions. This is a very generous congregation, and Ivan and I were talking earlier, the amount that our sister's shown that we've collected, that probably doesn't include things that our branch has given to the ministry that goes directly to one of the ministries or another. So I know that's the case. We've given money directly to various ministries outside of this branch, and I know others have too, so I really appreciate that. Maybe we should take just a minute and let our sister go through the second page and let us know what we're looking at here, Pam.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. The treasurer's report. Total funds in the bank as of last Sunday was $56,453. Designated funds, those are the funds that have been set aside for the various things that we need to fund through the year. There's $56,372. That gives us cash on hand of $81, which is okay because most of the money is designated for everything we need to do. The cash on hand, it would be for something that comes up that we aren't anticipating. Through the years, as far as the designated funds, right now we have in our debt reduction $4,487. In oblation, we have $12,463. And special projects, we have $8,000 left from all the projects we did this year. Our operating reserve is $70,870. Now, we've talked about this in the years past. I went online to see exactly what they thought an operating reserve should be, and I got anywhere from 6 to 9 months worth of your expenses. This total that's in there right now would cover 7 months worth of expenses. So keep that in mind when we're going to the budget, whether we want to increase our operating reserve or not. The summary for income this year was $178,252. Our expenses were $162,777. We donated to FSM through donations $8,349. Oblation donations, we took in $12,878, and we spent $10,950 in oblation expenses. Special project donation was $32,429, and we spent $30,758. Any questions about any of those?
Questions. So if I understand this, not being an accountant, we got $70,870 cash that's undesignated. Is that correct?
$7,870 is in our operating reserve set aside
For rainy day money.
for emergencies, right?
Okay.
Rainy day.
Any other questions about the treasurer's report? Yes. We got mics coming.
Can I ask the same question?
I'm probably showing my ignorance. What is FSM donations?
That's Freedom Stewardship Ministries.
And what is that?
Freedom Stewardship Ministries is a ministry that was started in the Center Place almost 4 years ago, and I'm actually the, what am I called, Janet? The chairman of Freedom Stewardship Ministries myself. There's a board, and about 10 of the branches in the Center Place and elsewhere, maybe more than that, are affiliated with Freedom Stewardship. And what we do is we provide family budget training to those that raise their hand for help. And we've helped 14 families, in addition to the budget training, we've helped 14 families by retiring their credit card debt and loaning the money interest-free. So I believe we've helped 14, if I haven't lost track, we've helped 14 families. One of the families is completely out of debt now and paid Freedom Stewardship off. The other 13 are in the process of paying us off. And most of those families, we don't refinance low-interest debt. We don't refinance home debt because it's not a terrible burden, generally speaking, in terms of interest rate. We generally don't help with car loans, although consumer loans are getting more expensive now. We will help a family on any loan that the interest rate is in excess of 9.5%. And we go through a budget training with them, that we show them a film that we put together, Brother Joe Perkart put together. And if they qualify, they have to qualify. And I'm probably telling you more than you want to know, but I'll just briefly. There's 3 things when somebody approaches us for help. They have to be an active member of a restoration branch, which we define as 50% attendance. They have to be in need of help. We don't just help a family that doesn't really need the help, just would like the help. That doesn't qualify. And thirdly, the families that approach us have to be able to demonstrate to me or one of the other board members that they have the ability to repay. Because the money comes from the saints. We've collected in the last 3 years $250,000 in Freedom Stewardship Ministries. Last year, this branch gave $8,300, but I know some of our families have given money directly to Freedom Stewardship Ministries in addition to that. So those are the things that we look at when a family raises their hand. Freedom Stewardship has money now. The saints have been so generous. We were almost out of money 3 months ago, and we had prayers. I know the board had prayers, several of us, and within, I want to say 30 days, the saints had given us $53,000. So we've now got money to loan out. So that's a short answer. That's a long answer to your question, but I appreciate the question. It's on our envelope, so our saints have a choice every week if they want to give some money to Freedom Stewardship, as well as tithing and offering and operating funds and other things. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions about the Treasurer's report? Okay. Yes.
Does the income include like everything, like oblation, tithing, all of it? Do we have a breakdown of that or no?
I'm sorry.
It's
Like
hard.
the income, does that include everything, like tithing, oblation, all of it? Okay.
Your $178,000, that includes everything that's offered in our envelopes.
And I asked how many members we have, and I think it's around approximately 200. So that was just convicting for me on the tithing portion of it, I think.
Yeah. Good question. Any other questions? Okay, you've got the proposed budget, which the best church treasurer in the world put together for us, and I can't tell you what a wonderful job she does for us throughout the year. And so we've got a lot of line items here. We've gotten input from the various operating departments. Let me tell you how I propose that we're going to go through this evening. We'll go through it line by line. You'll see what the budget, what the year-to-date expenditures were in each category, in what the 2023, you'll see the 2022 budget, then what we've spent, and the 2023 budget, so you can kind of follow the progression of things. We'll go through these line items. We invite questions, and we'll try and answer them best we can to justify the budget amounts. And then on line item by line item, we'll just take a simple up or down vote. I'm not, Elsie, cover your ears. I'm not going to go through motions and seconds and whatnot. I don't think it's necessary because the budget's on the table for us. So we're going to just go up and down on these things. If you have questions, raise them. Okay? So with that all said, if you have questions on what some of these line items are, that's why our sister's up here with her computer and her microphone. Bulletins. Last year 400. We've spent 218. Next year 400. Any questions? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Miscellaneous. Last year 1750. We've spent 1870. Budget's up to 2,000. What is that, Pam? What would be in that category?
Anything that's not in anything else administration gets stuck with.
So when the pastor calls and says, I'd like $200 to do something, that's where it goes.
We buy stamps to send out our bills. We buy the little communion cups, things like that, that really isn't under
Yeah.
anything else. That goes under administrative.
So you can see we overspent that budget, so we've raised the budget by about 10%, 15%. Any questions? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Miscellaneous. Copier, $2,000 last year. We've spent $1,212. And I think the reason the budget's gone down, if I'm not mistaken, Bill could answer this, but we got a new copier. It's probably a better copier. It's more of a commercial copier, so we don't have somebody in here every 30 days fixing the copy machine. So we were able to reduce that budget. Any questions? All in favor? E-tithing. I think that's...
Let me address that.
Go.
Okay. E-tithe is what we use online that anybody wants to make donations. And part of the e-tithe, you can either pay the small fee or not. And that's your choice. That's everybody's choice. People who don't pay, we still have to pay the e-tithe people what that fee is. So that $494 is the amount of money that we had to pay them that we did not take in. But let me assure you, the amount of money we take in from using this far exceeds doing that. So
How much do we charge per transaction? Is it a per transaction?
yes.
Okay, 3.5.
Through that, I'll have to look.
She
I
probably
don't
doesn't have
off the
that
top
in
of my
hand.
head.
I will give you one testimonial. We had a retreat about a month ago, and we passed the collection plate the last Sunday and came up about, I want to say, $1,500 short. $2,000 short. When we left the campgrounds, we were $2,000 short, which is fine. The three branches were going to cover it. But I learned one thing, is that many of our young families, not restricted, just young families, many of our families, particularly young, do things online. The next 2 weeks, we received, I think, almost $1,500 online for that. So it pays off for us. We ended up the retreat, for your information, about $375 short of what it cost, and this branch shouldered that loss.
Give me 30 seconds and I'll give you that amount. $41,323.
25% of our income comes through e-commerce. Any more comments about those fees that we shoulder as a branch? All in favor? Question? That's the point. Probably, probably a lot of it.
I said that, excuse me. I said that was probably $41,000 that we weren't collecting 2 years ago before we started that. So it's a good thing.
I think it probably makes sense. We cover the $550. All in favor of okay? And the budget for that, by the way, is $550. You see that there, so $550 for next year. Men's ministry, last year budget was $1,500. What's the $1,000, Pam, in the second? Oh, what is that $1,000 in the second column there?
I have no idea.
I doubt it. I doubt if we've,
No.
I think
Oh,
what,
it's the, yeah, it shouldn't, yes, it's the total. The first column is individualized, the second column is a total of the first column in that category. So it should be actually 1,500.
okay. The budget was 1,500. We spent very little. We've got, Alan's in charge of that ministry, not Alan, Pete's in charge of that ministry. He's sick, he's not able to come tonight, but feels that the $1,000 would be appropriate for us, for the next year. Any questions about the men's ministry budget? All in favor? Women's ministry. Okay, I guess that's broken down. That's broken down by category. Last year, education. We had 250. We spent 341. Recommending 500. Let's go through the. You can ask questions by line item if you like. We'll vote on the total. Education, as I say, has gone up to $500. Women's events, $250 last year. More things planned this year, $1,000. Showers and receptions, $200 last year, $200 again. We spent $147. Funeral dinners, $500 budgeted. We spent $126, lowered to $300. Flowers, $300. We spent $343, raised to $500. Community outreach is a new line item. Connie, what's that? Or one of you ladies, what's that?
Pam added it.
This year, we were asked to do a community outreach with one of the people we work, as a congregation, she attends here. It's a community outreach thing.
Okay.
And we, this year, spent our $1,000 that we always spend a year for this, in community outreach. It's our branch community outreach. But there are things that come up in the women's department that they would like to do as a community outreach through the women's department, helping people like
Yes.
Jesus,
The Zans, for example.
right,
we
the
help.
Zens or whatever, that help with that. So this $500 is there specifically for an outreach from the women's department itself.
That's fantastic. Yes, Connie?
The 1,000 that was donated, I just wanted to clarify with people, was to that outreach ministry where they did Thanksgiving dinner boxes for 300 families up in the Kansas City area. And we had an opportunity to help with that, and so we were able to. I was very, very glad that we could do that. The ministry there was so appreciative. Oh, wait a second.
Our
So-
women's ministry has been a complete blessing to our branch in this last year. Yes?
Part of that community outreach that Pam suggested that we added, at the Team Jesus, Connie and I went and did a tour there.
Yes.
And they're working on a women's shelter in the upstairs area where they'll be housing women and children. And we want to be a part of helping that as a women's group, along with other areas with our visiting teams and different things of outreach into the community that we want to do.
Praise
So-
the Lord. Total women's budget for a question over here, Rachel.
I appreciate that the line item for funeral dinners went down since we didn't use it, but I also know that we never know what the Lord could bring into our lives, and also that the cost of food is going up. So I'm wondering if maybe we should bring that item back up to the 500 it was before.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
It's hard for, just so you know, when you're up here behind the speakers, it's very hard for us to, we hear noise, we can't always hear the words. But I heard you recommend that one of the line items be increased.
Yeah,
Connie, you're
funeral
sharing.
dinners is what I was saying we might need to increase. It was reduced this year a little bit in the budget, and we never know what food costs and things are going to go to, so we might want to return it back to that 500 that it was last year.
We have taken that into consideration, and we actually increased some of the money in the kitchen expenses for meat and things that we would provide for funerals. So that was taken into consideration for that.
I guess it would be appropriate for somebody to amend a budget line item if they'd like to. So if you'd like to. Okay. Budget for Women's Department stands at $3,000. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. Oh, the next line item is social activities. Is that right, Pam? Is that what that is?
Right. You want me to speak to that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. This year it got really, for want of a better technical term, messy with all of the things that we did because of branch events, because of multi-branch events, because of retreats. All of those things, we had nowhere to put them other than our branch things as far as our budget went. So I've broken it down this year so that the main branch events, the ones we have, the spring one and the winter one and all of those that we do are under branch events. The branch retreat is money set aside for our retreats, like the one we just had. So it doesn't have to be taken out of the activities fund. It will have its own. And then branch, there's a revival / joint branch services. We spend a lot of money on those joint branch services, food and so on and so forth. And that shouldn't come from our branch activities.
Talking about the Sunday night services, first Sunday, yeah.
That's also. The joint branch activity.
Well, the question I have is branch retreat, you've got, I'm confused about that because branch retreat was self-funding.
It is, but it's not. I mean, it's like when people donate things, I add it into the budget even though they don't give the money is there, because if next year they don't donate, we need to know how much money
It's costing.
it's going to cost. So
Okay.
if we have a branch retreat and people are paying towards it, that's wonderful, but if they don't,
We need to cover it.
we need to cover it, right?
Any questions about those lines? Julie?
Is it on now? Oh, gosh, yep, there it is. So I know for my section, which is branch events, there's a large increase in that budget. I recognize that. The reason for that is when the Priesthood and Wives dinner was hosted here this year, we were told originally, like she said, it was messy, the remaining costs that Living Hope was going to cover was coming out of the social activities budget. Therefore, the rest of the year, we were very, very mindful of the amount of money we spent. In fact, some of the items we had at our various events were donated and funded by individuals of the branch. So this increase in budget is due to the increase in food costs because we feed people at every social event we have, the fact that we will not probably have people who are willing to donate hundreds of dollars worth of supplies and materials, and additional, increases in the amount of people who have been attending our events. So I recognize that $2,200 jumping to $4,000 is a lot, but part of that was due to this breakdown not being available until about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, thank you. Any questions about these line items? Vaughn?
I would like to explain something to you. If it's in the branch budget, then it becomes a branch expense. Then you donate to the branch, and that becomes a contribution to the branch. Not to be real particular, because most of us can't itemize our deductions anyway, so it doesn't really matter much anymore. But because it becomes a branch expense, then you don't have the convoluted situation of trying to find contributions from people to do things for you. They can give it to the branch, give money to the branch to support the branch budget. and that's why you have it within the branch budget.
Any questions? This is a significant line item. Any questions about $9,500 for branch activities? All in favor?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, question.
No, sorry, one more thing. Social event on the 9th, please show up.
Oh. This is not commercial time. It's not advertisement time. We just watch the Chiefs. We got enough advertisements. Okay. All in favor of branch activities, $9,500. Anybody opposed? Okay. Zions League. Spent $4,000, budgeted $4,000, spent $5,000, budgeting this year $3,000. I spoke to Nicole just briefly. Nicole, do you want to address that? This is kind of an advertisement, too.
Well, number one, we overspent last year because we had a very active and large group, and we took a big trip, which was pretty awesome. The reason why I am decreasing it by 2,000 or whatever, 1,000 from the budget from last year is that our group is a lot smaller. So last year we had between anywhere from 10 to 15 kids solidly every Sunday, and this year I have maybe 3 to 5. So our group is a lot smaller this year. So if you know any high schoolers, and even some of our alumni, so even some of the kids that have graduated keep coming back. So it's kind of merged into Zions League / young adult, older youth, whatever. Send them our way. But that's why it's smaller this year.
So the advertisement part of that, from my standpoint, is anything you can do to get the young people to come to our Zions League activities, you're encouraged to do so. They do a wonderful job. I'll go down next to Kingdom Kids. This is in the youth ministry. Kingdom Kids, $1,000, spent $345. She wants $1,000 again. This would be Becky's line item. Any questions? Youth activities, $4,000. All in favor? Okay, carries. Music ministry. Yeah, that's the total we got an amendment on today, right? Okay. Piano tuning, $1,000 in the budget last year, spent $75. Don't have anything this year. We got a beautiful new electronic piano donated to the branch, so you can see the savings. Miscellaneous supplies. This is in the music budget. $500 last year, budgeted $1,000. I know neither of our music leaders were able to come tonight, but I spoke to them this afternoon, and I think they plan some music events that they, in this budget line item, would go primarily for sheet music and whatnot, different music for the various music events. That's what they explained to me. So $2,000 in the budget. Oh, other. Well, I think the $2,000 is what I just explained. Rachel told me this afternoon that they're planning on, I'm trying to remember how she worded that. I would like the money to purchase music for choir and a Christian musical. So they're planning a musical this coming year, and that's why they've increased the budget. Any questions about that? That's about all I know about it. All in favor of the music budget? Anybody opposed? Carried. Help me, Pam. What are we looking at here? These next
Ministries, under technology ministries, the CVLI license and the CCLI license are the ones we use so that we can show movies and that we can do the videos, the Christian music videos and all of those. Those are the licenses we need to do that to be legal when we're doing all of that. Okay. You want Rich to talk to the...
Yeah, Rich, can you help us on the website setup and maintenance?
The website setup and maintenance is pretty much a fixed cost. we're allowing for the possibility of inflationary expense increase sometime during this year. May or may not happen, but that's one of those things that we're just kind of allowing for. Equipment and software is basically the computer side of things. I don't anticipate any major changes. There is smaller bits of equipment that sometimes need replacing, so we've got a budget for that. If we did come down to something major needing to be replaced, we'd probably have to bring it before the branch because I don't want to include it when it's kind of a far-fetched possibility. What used to be called the robocall machine, you'll see over on the right column, is now our call multiplier texting service. That's made it very easy and very responsive for Becky to handle for us. That's a fixed cost, and again, I'm allowing for potential for an increase. May not happen. We may come in under budget on that as well. Sound equipment, there are some things that we are considering doing, such as extending our speaker reach a little bit. We had talked as a congregation about the possibility of using acoustical boards to help with the echo. That is not included in this because the building committee included it in their budget, which we'll see in a little bit. But basically, sound equipment is the possibility that we have to replace or buy some extra stuff. Nothing major in the works for this year at this point. Any
questions? Our technology's obviously zoomed forward in the last couple of years. It's a blessing for all of us, as you can see. All in favor of that budget? $6,030. Anybody opposed? Okay, carried. Sunday school. We'll go down through these line items. Supplies is in the budget at what we're spending this year. Vacation Bible School, again, what we spent this year. Scripture scriptures. We buy the 3 standard books for everyone that we baptize in this branch. We've purchased, it doesn't show up yet, it will next year. We've purchased 8 sets for 8 anticipated baptisms next year. We bought them. I haven't submitted the receipt yet, but we bought them in December because we get 25% off. So we've purchased those already. Total Sunday school, $3,300. Any questions? All in favor? You guys are too easy. Told you we should have increased all of these line items. Tuition assistance. Pam, tell us how that works, if you can.
We pay, right now we're paying $15,000 a year to CPRS. That money is divided amongst all of the students who come from Living Hope and go there to help with their tuition expenses. And last year we had a huge increase in the number of students. I don't know how many we have this year. I know it's less than we had last year as far as Living Hope students. The overall attendance is much higher there. But as far as Living Hope students, we've lost a few, graduation and so forth. So that's what it's at. So that's where it goes to.
I kind of got ahead of myself. We should have voted on the Sunday school budget of $3,300. All in favor of that? Okay.
I just remembered that we always get the scriptures for the kids monogrammed, and it's an extra $10, not per book, but per set. So we owed 2 kids 2 sets, and I bought an additional 8 because we anticipated about another 8. So we have 10 sets waiting to be done as soon as the kids go through the classes, as well as February when the inspired version is supposed to come in. So I think I want to increase that scripture thing maybe by another $100 to cover.
Scripture would go from $975 to $1,075. Budget would go up $100 as well to $3,400. Amended the budget to $3,400. All in favor? Carried. And we've talked about tuition assistance. We haven't voted on any questions about tuition assistance, big dollar amount for this branch. All in favor? Youth camp assistance. Who can speak to that? Do you speak to that, Pam? or-
Sure. We pay for one camp for any child that it goes to Living Hope. We pay their expenses to go there. As with the Zions League last year, the year before, this is 22, 21, we had a lot of campers go, a lot, and we spent a lot of money on that. In 22, we had not nearly as many campers, so I just reduced it because we don't have as many in Zions League. So it makes sense to me
Yeah.
that we wouldn't need to keep that in there.
Okay. So that's being reduced from $2,500 to $1,500. Any questions? All in favor of that? Youth camp assistance. Carried. Okay, down to other budgeted items. Janitorial expense, supplies and product is being held steady at $1,000. Services are being held steady at $9,000 for a total of 10 for janitorial. Any questions about that? All in favor? Carried. Kitchen. It looks like these line items are being held, total kitchen, last year $1,600 for next year. Any questions about that? Or
Just to address what we spoke about before with Rachel's question, we had $1,500 in the kitchen supplies, and we didn't spend anywhere near that. So we left it at that, and that would help take up the cost of the meat and stuff for funerals.
total kitchen $1,600. Elsie?
Part of the expense of that is my coffee and snacks Sunday morning, and for the most part, we haven't bought maybe $20 worth of snacks, but we've served out hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of cookies and cakes and everything that we've gotten from other sources, donations or whatever, and so keep the cookies coming, and we don't have to raise this budget item. But that does that number is not including all of the things we see in there on Sunday morning that I get ready for everybody. So be aware of that when I beg for cookies and baked goods.
Helen?
On the $465 spent, I can't say that that's an actual amount because people have bought things for the kitchen other than myself, and I don't know whether those receipts were turned in or how they were turned in or if they came out of the kitchen budget or not. And so it would really make it a lot easier that if you see a need in the kitchen, if you would come to me and tell me, Helen, we need this, Elsie does it, or something like that, it would make it a lot easier in managing my budget for the kitchen.
And speaking to both of the last two issues, if people do donate things, please turn the receipts into me. I need to know that, like I said before, for making the budget, because if you're very generous in giving things, like on Sunday morning food and stuff, and you decide you're not going to do that anymore, then we need to make up for it. So it won't be, I mean, you get credit for it if you want credit for it or not, but I need to have it for the budget, so I know what is being donated. Right.
Ivan, do you have a question? I think Ivan had his hand up. No?
I guess this is a question for Elsie. I know that we get some of the items from the food pantry, and I was just wondering if that's going to continue. I know they're making some changes down there, and just was wondering what his prognosis for that future was.
Yeah, I can, you're talking about Neighborhood Network. Neighborhood Network has, and we've got people here that know more about it than me, we help pick up the food. The problem we've had with Neighborhood Network this year is that, I mean, you hear about going to the store and there's nothing on the shelves. We go to Neighborhood Network every other Tuesday morning, and there's not nearly the food there used to be. I would say 25% or less of what we used to be able to go and shop for. When Neighborhood Network operates, and I guess we get to the budget here in a minute, we've been giving $300 out of this branch a month. Outreach gives $300 a month. And we purchase things online that we specifically want. And they sell those to it at a greatly reduced cost, I might add. But then on every other Tuesday morning, we go over here to Harvesters and shop. And we can basically take anything we want, and it's free to us as being members of Harvester, Neighborhood Network. But the problem is when we go shop now, there's sometimes almost nothing there. So in terms of your question, where are we going with this? Richard, did you have your hand up?
We got involved as a branch in Neighborhood Network back in 2011, so we've now been going over 10 years. I've been involved with it since the very beginning, and it actually came out of a community ministry from the City of Independence, who set it up, and a city councilman came here, made a presentation on various ways we could get involved with the community, one of which was the Neighborhood Network, and so we've been involved with that. What's happened, as you've mentioned, is about 2 months ago, I visited with Pam in that we have a need to supplement, and that is hopefully somewhat of a temporary, but I looked around here, and Buck and LaDonna, who are also involved, are not here. Bud, they're members in that group, and Buck leads the meeting, so we have a lot to say as a branch. But what's happened is, with the condition you're talking about, we were getting items that were loaded with carb-type items. Yep. Breads, yep. Desserts, and the program was in danger of losing members because although we all like breads and desserts, coming twice a month to Living Hope in order to be part of the program just wasn't of interest, as much interest as it had been. So what we've done is we have, with the reserves that we have, and like I said, Pam is fully aware of this, is we purchase and we created a list that the members, and the members, remember, there's a portion of them that are not associated with the Latter-day Saint movement because it's a community project, and we have, we've expanded it from Santa Fe and Proctor schools to really the City of Independence. And we've done that because the city has not been in a position to be part of this program anymore, but Harvester still is. And so what we've done is have gone out and purchased items that the families would have need of. Because we used to, as has been said, get products like paper towels, like toilet paper, like vegetables, like produce. And those things, those who have gone over to make the pickups will tell you, there was a time that you could go walk into Harvesters and you couldn't see because of all the food that was there. Now you can see the back wall because food banks in the United States have been greatly depleted over this last 3 years. It's just not there. So what we've done is that we are now into like the second month of this. We hope that day will come that some of that other will return, but what we're doing is we're purchasing those items. The members I asked them to make a list of items that they are in need of. The list wasn't things like desserts because, like I said, we're already getting that. It was for items, the fruits, the vegetables, the paper towels, the toilet paper, and laundry detergent, and things that they would have a great need of. But right now, for a temporary basis, which we have the funds in reserve to carry this, is we supplement what we do still get from harvesters so that the program is going on and it's revitalized. Within the last 2 months, because of having to make that kind of move, that has regenerated the program of Neighborhood Network. So that gives you a
Well,
bit of background.
if I jump down here, and I know we're jumping ahead of some items, we'll go back. Neighborhood Network is a line item you can see down there on the second page. Last year, 3,600. That's 300 a month from this branch. Does that need to be increased, Richard?
I believe we have enough reserves that what we'll need to do, and what I've informed the members, is that we're going to do this, what we've talked about, carrying the program to the end of the year. And then the steering committee, which is made up of members, and I'm a representative from the branch, is that we will review where we are at and then project if we need to continue to do this for a couple more months. But we have the funds to handle that, but we obviously can't do it indefinitely without having some other adjustments.
In other words, we haven't spent the 300 a month at harvesters.
Right,
So we've
right, and we get 300 from outreach branch as well. So we're fine with that way, certainly for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Well, while we're down there, we've talked about Neighborhood Network. It's down. You see 3,600. Any more questions about that budget item? It's a wonderful ministry that this branch and outreach offers. All in favor? Okay, that carries. Okay, we're up to, what are we up to? We've done kitchen, so lawn and mowing, snow removal, $5,000 last year. We've spent, it looks like we're going to spend about $5,000 this year. It's in budget again for $5,000. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Missionary. Richard, you got the mic still.
Yeah, the way we group these things together, I always feel like for a short time in our business meeting that I'm talking too much. So I'll try to get in and get out. But you see the funds before you, and you may wonder, well, within the COVID the last 3 years, what could possibly be continuing as far as missionary work goes? Well, you know we live in a different time. And now the contact we have with our missions is year-round, not like in the old days when missionaries would go and you wouldn't see them and you might get letters every so often back from them. Instead, through email, Facebook, Zoom, and I'm probably even missing some things, we stay in contact. The expenses, however, just like with this branch, they go on. So that some of the areas that we have worked with are the building rents for services. Now, understand, in the Philippines, we have over 1,000 members. In Kenya, we have over 5,000 members. So when we're talking about buildings and that kind of thing, even where we might say that's a lot, imagine what we're spending here at Missionary Branch far exceeds, even though we are only a small in comparison to the foreign missions in numbers. But you know that their conditions are such that their financial resources are very limited. So rent, elders' expense, oblation, tuition, those have been very significant ministries. Now, within the tuitions, when you look at this thing and you say, well, how much has been spent versus, there's been particularly within the Philippines and Nepal, there has been some changing of semesters there in terms of getting through the COVID, because I think you could probably appreciate when COVID caused them to shut down their schools, they did not have readily available computers and that kind of to continue online. So they actually shut it down. So we're not operating on the typical monthly expenses. That had to change some because when they were down, and then they resumed, and so that it's thrown it off. But so I wanted you to know a little bit about that. Also, we have some missionary boards. I will tell you that in terms of the missionary expense, there's no checks written to Richard Neal or anybody else for that matter specifically. If someone had some project, missionary project, they could submit a request, but we go through missionary boards because that way there's no consideration that somebody might be, well, what are we spending this for? Is this trips to take vacations to Mexico or whatever? And I know that you would know that not be the case, but we want to be completely upfront with everybody. ARM is one of the groups that is done by because of the vast size of Africa, and because Kenya we said 5,000, but that's not counting Congo, Cameroon, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania. So what we're talking about is that ARM makes more than a sponsoring branch, so it's a conglomeration, and we do get involved with Living Hope with ARM to a certain extent. GEM is mainly being sponsored through Missionary Branch. LAM is being sponsored through South Chrysler, and SEAM is the bulk of that has been through Living Hope. That is also one that we have several Living Hope members are involved with it. Jack's involved with it. Jeff Stillwell's involved with it. Dane Cederstrom, who has been with us as a branch, is with it, and then I serve as the chairman of that. I always want to give you a little bit of more information because that's a lot of money to not have any feedback on what's going. But we're doing fine financially. But that's any questions you can just ask.
Any questions for Richard? $20,000 budget. All in favor? Wonderful. Property, total property. Why don't we get a mic up to Bill and let him go through these line items? He knows a lot more about them. He's in charge of the building committee.
I'll go ahead and explain all these line items, and then we can vote on them one by one. Deadening panels, sound deadening panels we mentioned earlier on the back wall would help the sound from bouncing back and forth in this room. So that these 6 items here are things that we intend to do during this coming year. So the deadening panels, the rain gutter on the high part of this building on the north side is rusting and leaking, and we had somebody come and clean all the gutters this year for $250, and he was saying that rain gutter really is in bad shape and it needs to be replaced. The paint, we want to paint the storage unit that we have sitting out here to match the building. We need a chain link fence in the back corner of the property. You notice that they put a chain link fence around the armory up here. There's potential people coming onto this property where we don't want them to. So our back corner is open, and we'd like to put a chain link fence from the railroad track up to the neighbor's joining fence, which is about 200 feet long. Lift rental is put in there. That's for 2 times during the year to have a lift in here to do work. We don't anticipate a project needing that, but there's always something comes up where that is a high potential. The half bath on the west balcony would be converting the sink that's in there and adding a stool and redoing that a little bit so that there is a restroom facility on that floor adjacent to this new building, new room that we have up there. So any questions on any of that?
Hit the next one.
The building grounds is just a $400 a month general maintenance type fund. So that would come up to $4,800 for the year on that.
Total property budget, $18,430. Another big question back in the back. Ms. Connie.
Yeah, I just have a question. Somebody had said something about the possibility of paving the parking lot. Is that something that's really being thinked about? Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I can tell you that.
Oh, I haven't read through the whole thing, but okay. I'm like, I like that idea.
Bill can enlighten us.
And that's Adele back there squeaking that chair.
The parking lot paving was discussed in the building committee. Bill, you want to run that down? I'll let him do it. He knows more about it than me.
We had a number of people bid. We had 3 or 4 bids come in on that, and those are listed here. If you do it in asphalt, it would be around $103,000. If we did it in concrete, around $189,000. We put those down here as special capitalized projects. That cost does not include the design. We have to have an architect or someone draw up the plans for runoff and water collection and that kind of thing. So that amount isn't in there. That would be about another $25,000.
I'll characterize it. We had a discussion about it. We had those bids in hand when we discussed it in the building committee meeting. I'm just going to say, and there are other building committee members in here, I think the building committee thought that at this time we probably had priorities other than that, given the large amount of money that would be spent on that. Now, the branch can disagree with us on that. These would be non-budgeted items. These would be items that if the building committee met and decided we were going to recommend to the branch, we'd come to the branch, and that would be a capital call on us outside the budget. It would just like when we built this. Was that in the? I don't think that was in the budget, was it? Did we handle that outside the budget? That was outside the budget. We raised. Yeah, several things that we've done in here in the last year or so. We just came to the congregation for approval, raised the money through the congregation, and got the work done. That's the way. But if you're, if paving the parking lot is something this branch wants to do, you need to get with Brother Bill and raise the issue to him. We'll discuss it. We'll consider it again. It would obviously be an enhancement, but it's an expensive enhancement. So, got a question down here, Jim.
There's a couple things. What is the maintenance on the parking lot as it is now? Just the parking lot, what's the maintenance? Because I know once you concrete or asphalt, the maintenance gets pretty high.
We need to get another mic probably up here for Bill so he can answer these. Alan's going to wear out his shoes going back.
To my knowledge, there hasn't been much maintenance. We haven't bought any stone or anything like that. We have to regrade the parking lot after after the snow removal, because the snow removal pushes a lot of rock places that we don't want it, and so we have to bring it back. But other than that, there hasn't been much cost of maintenance of the gravel parking lot.
Any other questions about the total property budget of $18,430? All in favor of approval of that budget? Approved. Neighborhood networks we've talked about. We voted on that, I believe, did we not? Yeah. Okay, community resource Fifth Sunday, budgeted 1,000, spent 1,000, got 1,000 in the budget for next year. Any enlightenment on that for us, Pam?
No, it's just something the branch has always done. At the end of the year, we pick some charity.
Oh, that's what that is.
To give the $1,000 to Harvesters one year, Team Jesus one year. This year we gave to the one that the women's department suggested. So it's just something we do every year.
Okay, yeah. So that's our community resource Fifth Sunday budget of $1,000. Any more questions about that? All in favor? Approved. Okay, so that's that total. That's 4,600. Then we've got operating reserve. What's the action there, Pam?
Now, this is what I spoke about in the treasurer's report. I read and suggested that we have 6 to 9 months worth of money in our operating reserve. We now have 7 months worth in there. If we want to keep it up, we were giving $6,600 a year. That would take it well above the 9 months unless everything goes sky high again this year. But we're sitting at 7 months reserve right now.
Understand that? That's rainy day fund. We're going to fund it. She'd like to fund it past the 7 months we have now. Any comments on that?
I will tell you, because I can, when we're having money come in, if we don't have money to meet our expenses, I don't put it in because I put so much every month in operating reserve. And if we don't have enough money coming in to meet our expenses, it doesn't go in there. But this year we've been able to, if we didn't meet it in a couple months, we made up for it in the next couple months. So we were able to do that. But it doesn't go in there if we don't have the money for our expenses.
All in favor of the operating reserve? Carried. Insurance and taxes, I guess there's not a lot of discussion about that. $8,500 in the budget, all in favor? Approved. Utilities, 25 last year, budgeted at $30,000 because of increases. Any questions about that? All in favor? Approved. Security is in at $500, down from $750. Any questions about that budget item? All in favor? That's approved. Budget, you've approved a budget of $160,000 and $10. I think we added 100, so $160,110. Elsie?
I know a lot of you are were at the last 2 retreats that we've had out at Odessa, and I know you're aware of the facilities out there. Also, some of you are aware of some of the challenges that we've had with the management there and some other things. And so I don't know how many of you know that we have a reunion grounds here close to town. That's not in central Missouri, but that's in the center place here, just about 20 minutes from here. We've got over 200 acres out there that we've been developing over the last 23 years. And we have plans right now to put a kitchen out there, and what that would do is make available that reunion ground for things like a branch retreat, weekend getaways, weekend retreats for the youth, a number of things that could be done out there. And it's a beautiful setting. We don't have support for that, financial support. We've been trying to get it so that we can get this kitchen built. And I would like to propose, and I don't know where we want to put it, but I would like a line item budget item in there of $100 a month that Living Hope would donate towards the Zion's Ridge reunion grounds, so that we could continue to develop and maintain that. It would be available for all of the branches here in the center place. I know there's a couple other branches that give $100 to $200 a month into that, and I would like to see Living Hope be involved in developing that for the potential that's there, and so we'd have a place other than clear out at Odessa to have branch retreats and weekend retreats, men's retreats, those kind of things. And I think that would probably take a motion. And women's retreats, oh my gosh, yes, the women. And the women's retreats, that would probably take a motion. Pam, you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can make a motion.
Yeah, so if I could have a motion, or, well, I would so move that we add
How much?
a line item budget, line item to our budget to give $100 a month.
How much?
100?
How much?
200?
To what? What's
Well, Zach's saying 500, so there's a lot of numbers floating around here.
Well, if we're serious, I don't know if you guys, how many of you have been out to the Zion's Ridge campgrounds? If you went out, they had a fundraiser July or August, whenever it was, September maybe, and they've got a drawing of what they're going to build out there. It's a dining hall, kitchen, gorgeous. I mean, there's a gorgeous facility on the books out there. We just need to raise the money to do it. And so I think it's worthy of your, I'm going to just express myself, it's worthy of our consideration, however much you think we can put.
I'm open for amounts.
Is it seconded, can I ask?
Well, let's get
it seconded so we can have some discussion.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor for our branch to put a monthly amount in the budget for funding improvements at Zion's Ridge. Do I have a motion? Jim Nolan moves that. Do we have a second? Rachel seconds. The amounts, I'm going to say the amount's not set yet. Go ahead.
I was just going to recommend, could we ask that the amount maybe be $1,000 a month?
Our treasurer just choked.
Now, my question is, we're talking about having retreats and stuff. I've driven by it, and that's all I know about. Are there buildings where people can stay overnight? Is there facilities for that? Is there good bathroom facilities and so forth? Is that there?
Brother Vaughn?
Oh, Vaughn.
There are bathroom and shower facilities. There's a pavilion for meeting. We've had 23 annual reunions. There's city water right now. The plans for the kitchen are next to the facility that is the shower house, and it will have the same city water. We have plans being drawn up by an architect right now. We will probably lay the concrete foundation within 6 months. We have raised, in hand, we have $50,000 raised. We expect the kitchen to cost us $100,000 or so. And we are in process of raising the rest of the money now. There are those that are contributing more than that. The cabins have been in place for a while, and we've maintained those and upgraded them. The sanctuary is at the highest level of the campground. It's at about approximately 942 above sea level.
It's along the Little Blue. It overlooks the Atherton Bottoms. Approximately 200 square feet, 200 acres. Part of it is wooded, part of it's open. So we have a number of acres that we have yet to develop for RVs and so forth.
How many cabins are there, Vaughn?
Trying to think, there was
6 maybe?
6 or 7. I'm having a senior moment tonight. I haven't eaten supper. The cabins and RVs and so forth, we could probably accommodate 150 there easy, but we're planning on having more RV spaces as we have the need. But you see, it's been a rustic camp, and there have been as many as 6 trailers out there at our reunions that have hooked up to water and electricity. We probably would develop the RV place once we have the kitchen, because more people would come out. And we'd probably add cabins. Our first several reunions, people used tents, and we used circus tents for the meetings. Or in the early years, but now we have a pavilion, we have a storage building. That's where recently we acquired kitchen equipment that was donated to the school foundation, and we've purchased that equipment that'll outfit our kitchen, including tables and chairs, and basically two commercial refrigerators, 4 oven ranges and ovens, and microwaves, and pardon me, ice maker, and so we're pretty well outfitted with the kitchen, and just need a place to put the equipment. We have the equipment stored at the moment. So that's what we're looking at, and
it's a real possibility for the center place. It just needs to be funded. It needs to be funded. Any more comments about it? I'd accept an amendment to the motion with an amount in it for this branch to donate on a monthly basis. I'm asking for an amendment to include the amount. Joy? Amendment is $500. $500 a month from Living Hope. We could potentially put it on our envelopes if we wanted to make it easy for our people.
Do you have a second to that?
Yeah, I need a second to that. I got a second. We've got a motion that Living Hope would support the development of Zions Ridge Campgrounds, the amount of $500 a month. Any comments? We're going to have to, if we make a motion like that and make a commitment, we got 2 of their senior officers here, we're going to want to live up to it, so we're going to have to fund it. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Praise the Lord. I think it's a good thing for us to be doing. Just ask Nicole if you don't believe it. We had a little trouble with the management at Odessa Hills this year. Okay, what are we down to? We got through the budget. Special projects. Bill, do you have comments on the special projects and what that's all about?
I'd like to get an idea from the congregation if they want to consider any of these special projects. The picnic shelter would be a pavilion with an open air, it'd be an open air pavilion with a concrete floor, and it'd be next to the playground out here. We talked about RV hookups. I'm not sure if we had a number on that of maybe 4 to 8. I don't remember.
Number of hookups, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The privacy facade in the sanctuary, you can see the black divider over here. That's really temporary. We'd like to come out with some kind of a more stationary facade along both halves of the front of the church. that would be probably, I don't know, 4 to 6 feet away from the back wall and would hide most of our clutter. It could also be used for theatrical performances for people to enter stage right or stage left. The theater group storage, talked to Joy and their group about that. It would be another storage unit like we have out here that we would place either here or in the back, somewhere where they could, I think it would be half the size of the one we have. So that would be available for them to store their flats and the things that they build for the stage.
So these are the things, Bill, that the building department has discussed that are possible projects for us.
Right.
Are you looking for any action on those tonight, or just
Not
some
really,
input?
unless we'd
Okay.
like to prioritize them. You know, we could do some kind of a capital investment like we did on the air conditioning, depending on what interest the congregation has on any of these.
We'll take any comments on that. Of course, you can always go to Bill and express your position on those things. This is kind of the wish list that the building department has for us. What did you have to offer, Joy?
We could definitely adjust that price. We're able to make a sizable contribution to that storage. So I'd like to say we might need another 1,000, just 1,000 instead of 5,000.
For the theater group?
Yeah. We should be able to cover about 4,000 of it.
Okay, have you got a motion to make?
Well, I mean, Living Hope has been very, very generous with storage, and right now, if you've been around the back, we have wood and things that are outside in the elements. You know, we try to cover them.
Their props are wasting away outside.
So, you know, we do need some movement on it, and as we're looking at things, I think you guys had a great idea with the storage unit, this type of storage unit. It'll be a lot less expensive to get something.
Would you like to make a motion? In other words, would you like to put up an amount that the branch would assist with on that? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, we could do 4,000 if the branch could help us with the 1,000.
So I've got a motion for $1,000.
And it may not even, it may not even be that much. We just don't have an actual quote yet.
How many of you went to the, what was it, winter show? Is that what I call it, that we had up in Liberty? Or what was that called?
The summer musical.
Any of you go to the summer musical that the theater group put on? If you did, you know the kind of quality we're talking about. Christian drama that these, so we've got a motion for the branch to put up $1,000 to help them store their props so they don't go to waste outside.
Well-
I got a motion. I need a second. I got a second from Gene. Okay, comments, Elsie?
I move to amend that to $2,000 because the one we have out here costs $5,700 and some dollars for that. We've got to do a little prep work to get it in there. So I think we should assist at least to $2,000, make that $6,000.
We've got an amendment to the motion to take it up to $2,000. Do I need a second for that then, Elsie? Second on that. Bill Brown seconds. Any comments on the amended motion? $2,000 from our branch to help a storage facility for the drama department.
While we're talking about this, just so everybody is clear, we still have $8,000 in the special projects fund left over from everything we did this year. So that $8,000, because it was donated to special projects, has to go to special projects. We can't use it for anything else that's in the budget.
So it's funded, but we don't have a budget item. We need to have approval from the congregation.
We don't want, it's been funded for special projects.
Point of order.
Our secretary is falling behind here. Hang on.
Yes, just need to know who seconded
Who seconded over there? Oh, okay.
Gene Schmidt seconded.
The funds we have, the $8,000 has been given already for special projects. So it has to be used for special projects. We can't use it for anything else that we've already listed in the budget. Now, these items that we're considering down here are non-budgetary special projects, so it can go towards any of those.
But my question would be, I know when I think about the branch spending money, I know we've got the funding, but the branch usually, to me, has to approve what we spend it on. Special projects is fine, but the branch might not like us to spend $2,000 on it.
No, you're right. They need to approve those. I just want them to be aware of how much
It's
money
funded.
we already have.
It's funded. So we've got a motion and a second for $2,000 from the branch for a storage unit. Any more comment? Comment in the back. Let's finish this item out then, and we'll go to your comments. All in favor of $2,000 to assist the drama department in their storage unit? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay, question in the back, Connie.
You know, I would like to see us have a couple of outdoor volleyball courts, either 2 to 4 courts. I don't know what you think about that, Nicole. That has always been a big draw for youth and for our young adults. You know, when I was that age, we went from branch to branch or congregation to congregation, and I know Ken and I, we wouldn't mind organizing something like that if we wanted to try to get something going in the summer for, you know, to invite branches over and see who would want to participate in that. But anyway, not sand courts, because we don't need cat litter boxes.
Say that again. Not sand court, is that what you said?
Not sand volleyball courts. We don't litter boxes out there, but something nice. There you go.
Well, we'll accept a motion if you have one. Okay, I'm not hearing, Zach?
Volleyball, just.
Yeah.
I was just going to point out, we do have like the Chrysler Stadium volleyball courts, which if you've ever been there, they're really nice.
How do you get, you reserve them or something?
Sometimes you can just show up and use them, and then sometimes you can reserve them through, I think, the city parks.
Okay.
So that is always available, and they're really nice.
Any other order of business? Got a question over here.
Also, just so folks know, there's a hole right there in this, and one over there, and one over there. Volleyball nets can be set up in this room.
They play basketball in here also. The things that could be damaged are moved out of the way. I think one of the things, I just want to throw in there, one of the things Bill said, and from my perspective, is the order that you would like these things done, which is the priority that you want to see them done, so that we, at least a beginning idea of which ones you want to see them start working on.
She's inviting comments along that line. Zach?
We do host quite a few activities, especially over probably from May until late September. I think the picnic shelter would be just a tremendous draw for our branch. We've had activities out there where we've had Ivan grilling and John Cap grilling and just different ones. We've had 100 and some people show up to these events, and you know, it just would be really nice to just have like that sheltered area out there. But you know.
Any other comments? Any other, Richard?
Yeah, this is real quick, and that is that we keep in mind in the early days of the branch, and it was through our pastor that presented a master plan for the property. All I would just remind us of is as we do these things is we don't just kind of piecemeal it and then find out that, well, we put something where we're now going to have to work around it or remove it or whatever. So,
Thank you. Joy?
Talking about the privacy facade up front, I'd like to suggest that it might be a great thing to build up a stage, a small rostrum, not anything high. Think about all the times the children are doing a nativity thing or even just singing for choir or what they did this morning, and you really can't see them. So you're moving around. And so if something like that, if the branch decides on doing that facade, I'd like to suggest that a stage should go with that at the same time.
Yeah, comment in the back.
If I'm understanding right, you said we had 8,000 budgeted for these special projects already?
Yes.
Right. Okay, and we spent 2,000. We agreed to spend 2,000 on the
drama.
The storage. Okay. I'd like to, I guess, speak to what Joy said about the facade and possibly the stage, which she just brought up. I'd like us to prioritize that because, the rest of that is already, in the budget. It's already budgeted. It's already paid for.
It's funded,
And
right.
I think we can all probably speak to the need of that because, visually it's not very good. And also, if we did build some kind of facade that would also possibly help with the protection with the volleyball, we could maybe put a net over something if it was a more permanent solution to stop that. So somebody wants to make a motion about that. I move that we prioritize that.
Well, we're looking for priorities right now, so that's noted.
I have a question.
Yes.
Going with that, the facades and the stage, I'm understanding they're to be permanent, not movable. Is that right? And if they are, how is that going to interfere with our other activities in here? Is it going to interfere with the basketball and the volleyball and all of the other activities that we weekly use in here?
We'd have to be careful about it.
That's just a
Yeah,
question
you'd have
I
to be
have.
careful about it.
If it's there and it's permanent.
Here's the line right here. That's the
Right.
basketball line, right?
That's right. And you need to get outside of the basketball line.
No, right.
Pass it in, so.
I appreciate that. Jack? We're going to close this off in a minute. We've used an hour and a half of your time. We need to.
I was going to say, we do have portable stage material downstairs that we've used up here before for restoration choir and other things that, so there is temporary things that can be put up here too as well.
Thank you, Jack.
Do that. Oh, I just thought that there could be a design that the stage could be lifted, and gotten
back.
out of the way.
Kind of like
Yes.
a Murphy bed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Any other comments before we close out?
We still don't have, I hear the priorities, just so I'm hearing there. I hear the theater group, number one.
Theater group's budgeted at this
Right.
point, yeah.
Well, it's not, it's non-budgetary, but through here, yeah. Theater group is funded. And the picnic shelter would be the second thing on our priority, and then we can discuss later where we go from there. Is that,
I think that's the idea.
is that
Yeah.
fair?
And express those to your building committee.
Is that, okay.
Any other comments? hands. I appreciate generosity of the branch. We're moving forward with a lot of things. Richard, we're not going to recognize you anymore. Go ahead, Richard.
This, as far as I'm concerned, what I've just supported is not the storage shed and the picnic shelter. What I've supported is what we've done from the beginning of this branch, and that is made a commitment to our young people and our young adults.
Would you close us with prayer, Richard, since you have the mic?
You want me to speak again? Okay. Oh God, our eternal Father, we come here and we recognize the great importance of your message, that we be good stewards. And Lord, these things that we've talked about come out of the increase that has been supplied through the donations and generosity of the saints. And let us then, Father, never forget the reminder of that stewardship which we are called to do, not only within the physical layout of that which we use, but the spiritual in terms of not only our young people and this people, but those who will come to this place and gather to this place to find you. And so, Lord, we have gathered tonight in your name, dedicating that which we have done to your honor and glory. We pray your blessing upon that which proceeds from this time forth, and we ask it in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.